total of 45 businesses have had their liquor licenses suspended, but the parties, they still continue. So let's bring in Ben Yakas, the arts and culture editor for Gothamist. He's been tracking these pandemic parties and joins us to talk about what he has seen over these last couple of weeks. Ben, thank you for being here.
No problem.
Okay, so how far back do you trace these parties? Because I know when we started reporting on them, we were thinking, are you kidding me? Yeah. Coronavirus parties? That just seems like something that should never be done.
Well, there were parties that were information coming out around the country about parties in which teens were purposely trying to get it or they were daring each other. A lot of those reports I don't think were necessarily legitimized, but what has been happening in New York is that with the onset of phase 2 and 3 around the end of June and beginning of July, and especially when outdoor dining became a really major thing, I think some of the idea that the restrictions were being let off, some promoters and some venues decided that this was the time for them to really let all loose. And I think that, the weather was getting nicer and there were months of people being cooped up and people really wanted to socialize, especially starting around the July 4th weekend.
But this seems different, right? Because what we're showing on the screen are the crowds at the bars in the Upper East Side and Astoria, not social distancing. The governor's really cracking down on those. But a pandemic party seems like something different. Specifically in New Jersey, we saw one with 700 people in attendance. So what's the difference here?
Yeah, with a lot of the Astoria, the Upper East Side, Lower East Side places, those are bars and restaurants who are trying to abide by the guidelines, and they just happen to not be able to handle all the patrons that are spilling out onto the sidewalk. The major difference is that these parties, whether they're at rooftops or hotels or they're sort of underground, they're trying to attract people. They're trying to get large groups, over 50 people at a time. 50 right now is the maximum number of people that are allowed to gather for social events. And they are not trying to get people to wear masks. They're not even doing the pretense of social distancing.
So Ben, what is the explanation for that? I mean, we hear these words coming out of your mouth and we hear people saying it, but I still don't understand the logic behind it. So what are they saying to you?
You're like, why go?
Right. I think, again, for a lot of people, they feel like they have done their part in staying home from March, April, May, and that now they just want to get out and they want to do something. I think that some of these places are using a little bit of false advertising. They are talking about having a certain amount of rapid testing. And I think you know probably from reporting on this, from talking to your friends, right now, if you get tested at CityMD or go to a hospital, it could take 4 or 5 days, a week or more to get your results. Some of these places are using this rapid testing that says, oh, we'll have your result in an hour or two. And does that sound too good to be true? Because it is. A lot of this testing has not been vetted. The FDA has given warnings about it, and it's giving people a false sense of security.
So, yeah, I mean, there is that false sense of security, and there's also that boredom, like you're mentioning, from people who are saying, I just got to get the heck out of the house right now. But who is tasked with saying, okay, we see these promotions online, right? We see these people trying to allure people in, and why can't they stop them before they start? In New Jersey, that was the case, and at least a few of them, they were able to see it and shut them down before they even got there.
Yeah, I mean, the New Jersey one, they waited until it got to 700 people before they were able to break that up. But it's really difficult, and I think, what we've seen is that Governor Cuomo has really focused on these bars and restaurants because those are kind of the easy targets. And it's a lot harder to catch some of these underground ones, which are happening like in behind closed doors in shady places in Midtown and Bushwick, in Long Island City and other parts of the city. So to catch them in the act, it seems to be very difficult, but it's also that the enforcement has been so focused on the outdoor restaurants and bars that it seems as though they're kind of just missing this one aspect of it.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like Prohibition and speakeasies, right? Like people were hiding because they felt like they deserved to be able to do it, and then they get caught in the act. Hey, Ben, thank you so much for your perspective. Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Thank you. Well, I was going to say, at least back then they didn't have a pandemic to worry about.
Exactly.
All right. Hey, stay safe in your reporting, especially if you're attending any of these underground parties in order to get information and sources. We appreciate your time, though.
Thank you.